All right, you guys. We are going to be in Metabolism Lesson 4.2, Analyzing Evidence, and we're going to start right out with Part 1. So that is going to be our warm-up today. We're going to do Parts 1 through 4 on this lesson. So let's go ahead and jump on in. In your warm-up, you guys are going to need to choose which of these claims that you currently agree with. Do you think that she is, or that Jordan Jones, not she, because that was Elisa before, Jordan Jones increased his cellular respiration and improved his performance by blood doping, okay, by his pre-race meal, or do you think that it is this one down here that shows on your Amplify lesson on part 1 as training at a higher altitude? So choose one of these now, and then right below this on part 1, you're just going to tell me what you think, why you think that claim is the strongest. So if you will pause your video here, you should take about 2 or 3 minutes to answer this question, or a little bit less. So pause the video here and keep an eye on your time. It should be 2 minutes. All right, so we're going to go on to activity 2. In activity 2, we're going to be examining evidence about Jordan Jones's race. So we know that this athlete came in 35th, and we know that we have 3 claims, the ones that we discussed in the beginning. He's trying to improve his cellular respiration and his performance, and he has, but has it been by blood doping, by changing his pre-race meal, or is it by training at a higher altitude? So which one do you think is the strongest right now? Okay. All right. Well, let's see if you guys are right. So, scientists can be more certain about their claims when they have evidence. If they have high quality evidence, then they're going to be able to have a stronger support for their claim. So if they only have a little or low quality evidence, a lot of times they're uncertain. So hopefully we'll get enough for you so you can have a high quality evidence and have a good claim. In the last lesson, you discarded some of the lower quality evidence. So we had cards A through, I think it was G, but you had the first set of cards and you discarded some of those pieces of evidence. Well, today we're going to look at some more evidence to try to help you out in figuring out how he improved his performance. So now you're going to get cards G through, oh goodness, what was it? G through, let me tell you, G through O. Since yesterday you got A through H, now you'll have G through O. So you'll get those new pieces of evidence, and I want you to determine what evidence of these is high quality. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. You're going to read and annotate each evidence card, and later on, you're going to be using those other ones from the previous lesson that you still have, but right now we're just going to focus on these claim cards. Okay, now once you get, if you need to pause now so that you can go through them and read them, and annotate each card, like put some quick notes on there. So when you look at that card, you can say, oh, this had to do with that. So like maybe even highlight. So if you look at one of these, let's see, let's look at this one right here. So pre-race meal, last year's race, this year's race. So this is what he ate as his pre-race meal last year, and this is what he ate as his race meal for this year. So I might like highlight last year, this year, so that when I look at this card really quickly, I'll say, oh yeah, that's right. This was his meal from last year and this was the one from this year. Because you guys are going to be using them in an argument. You want to be able to look at them really quickly and understand your notes, okay? So right now, I want you to set the 3 claim cards aside. So I gave you these claim cards right here. If you haven't gotten them, get them from the counter or the area that's designated to pick up supplies, and put them aside. Okay, you're going to read each evidence card carefully, and you should already be annotating those. At the bottom of each card, you should write one sentence to explain how this evidence connects to or more of the claims about how Jordan Jones improved his performance. So how does this evidence connect to another piece of evidence? So you should be writing that on your card, and maybe say this evidence card connects with evidence card B because, and you're going to write why. You could do it on the back if you need to. It's just a little easier if you can do it on the front. Then you're going to combine these cards with the ones that you did in the last lesson. So pause the video here and go ahead and do part 2 and go through your evidence cards. The directions are also on your Amplify page, so you can look at them there as well. All right, let's go on to part 3. So we're going to discuss evidence about Jordan Jones' race. So you and your partner will now discuss one piece of evidence at a time. And you're going to need to decide which of the 3 claims you think supports it the best. So lay those claim cards out just like you see here on my screen. Claim 1, claim 2, claim 3. You're going to decide. Remember, high quality goes up near the claim. Low quality is going to go down towards the bottom. So which piece of evidence do these cards go with? Okay. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the cards and the ones that totally go with the claim, you're probably going to want to staple on this when we're done with this activity today. But you want to figure out which ones best support the claims. And you can even write if they link to another claim on the card. So you want to put all your notes on here so you're ready when we have our discussion. So you'll put like I said, you're going to put those 3 claims at the top of your desk and talk to your partner about how to place them. So let's look at an example so you know what to do before you go off and do it. So this card seems to support claim 1. Let's read it. Evidence card G, Jordan Jones' blood sample had a higher number of old red blood cells than the average number found in the samples from the other cyclists. So we think this might go with claim 1. I'm going to go back to claim 1 here. So claim 1 says Jordan Jones increased by blood doping. He increased his cellular respiration and his performance by blood doping. So do you see how that connects with claim 1? We have old red blood cells in there. And old red blood cells means that he's taking blood out and putting it back in later. So we can say that this supports claim 1. Okay, so what I would do is I would write claim 1 on the card, just so you know for later in case it gets mixed up on you, and just put claim 1 on the top, okay? And put it underneath claim 1 card here. If you think it's strong, put it here. If it's weak, put it at the bottom. So you're going to do that with all of your cards. Okay, so I'm going to tell you to pause the video now. You have directions on your Amplify if you need to go back and read it. And it also says, just a little note for you here, you're going to keep doing that process until you've sorted all your cards and placed them under the claim you think it supports best. But don't sort card O yet. Put that one aside because that one's going to be covered a little bit later on. All right, so let's get ready for the next activity. Set aside claim 2 and any of the evidence that you thought goes with claim 2 and that evidence card O I said we'd get back to. We're going to need to keep these cards organized for the next lesson. So you know how I told you to staple them before? Go ahead and staple them on there. You can pull them off later, or if you want to grab a paper clip, you can. You're going to tuck these into your binder. So clip claim 1 and 3 and put it back in your binder so you have them for later. Pause the video here if you need to finish any of that up before we go on to claim 4 or part 4. All right, here we go. Considering claim 2, so this should take us no longer than 15 minutes. So let's look at card N. This card shows evidence about what Jordan Jones ate for his pre-race meals, both last year and this year's race. Okay. So you're going to work with a partner, okay? You should be working with your partner to look at card N and O together and see if you can figure out if claim 2 can be supported. So look at these 2 cards and see if you guys can support claim 2. Pause the video here, take about 30 seconds to a minute to go ahead and figure out if you think this backs up the claim. All right, so the next thing that you're going to do is reread card N, okay, the one you just read, and card O, and discuss what it tells you about, what O tells you about N. So if you have not done that, reread it and see what O will tell you about card N. What does O tell you about card N? All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to clip those evidence cards together and make sure for claim 2 you have evidence card O with any other evidence that supports it. And you can, like I said, staple it together and you're going to place that back in your binder. And that is the end of this lesson. So make sure you go back to Amplify, make sure you check your key concepts as well, and make sure that you take your mastery check before you move on.